Welcome to Coconut Tail channel.
I read, "Some husbands are replaceable. My coffee turns bitter." I reply, "You are absolutely right," and cancel the cruise. The roar of the Camaro silences the laughter. An unexpected continuation is yet to come. I was reviewing the quarterly reports when my phone vibrated with a notification that would change everything. My wife had posted on Facebook that some husbands think they are irreplaceable. The post already had 12 likes and 3 laughing emojis within minutes. I stared at the screen, rereading the message. It was not a random observation or sharing a meme. It was a direct attack aimed at me, posted while I was at work, visible to all our friends and family. The same friends who would join us for our anniversary cruise next month. The same family members who had watched us exchange our vows 7 years ago. I scrolled through the comments. Her sister had already reacted with "Preach Girl," followed by clapping emojis. 2 of her coworkers had left messages of support. Each notification felt like another slap in the face, administered publicly and deliberately. What made things worse was the timing. We had a discussion the night before about household responsibilities. Nothing heated, nothing dramatic. I had simply mentioned that I handled most of the financial planning while she managed social events. Apparently, that conversation had turned overnight into ammunition for a public humiliation. I leaned back in my office chair, processing what I was seeing. It was not the first time she had made passive-aggressive comments, but posting something so direct on social media crossed a line. She was essentially telling the world that I was dispensable, replaceable, nothing special. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I could have called her, confronted her in private, demanded an explanation. That was probably what she expected. A defensive reaction, maybe a heated argument that would give her more material for her next post. Instead, I typed 4 words. "You are absolutely right." I posted it and immediately put my phone away. Let her and her squad of supporters try to figure out what that meant. Within 30 seconds, my phone started vibrating with notifications, but I ignored them completely. The rest of my workday took on a different quality. Every email I sent, every meeting I attended, every decision I made felt sharper, more focused. By the time I left the office, I had already made my first major decision. I drove straight to the bank instead of going home. Our joint savings account displayed the expected $7,360 reserved for the anniversary cruise we had been planning for months. The cruise she was so excited about, the one she posted countdowns for on her Instagram stories. "I would like to transfer this amount to my personal checking account," I told the teller, sliding the withdrawal slip across the counter. "Does your spouse need to authorize this transfer?" she asked, glancing at the joint account information. "No authorization needed. Both names are on the account with full access rights." 20 minutes later, the money was transferred. I sat in my car afterward, looking at my phone. There were 17 notifications from her post, but I did not open a single one. Instead, I opened Google and started searching for something I had been considering for months, but never had an excuse to pursue. The Chevrolet dealership was still open when I arrived. The Camaro SS I had admired during my lunch break was parked right up front, midnight black with silver racing stripes, the very car I had mentioned wanting when we first got married, back when she would laugh and say, "One day, when we are rich." The salesman approached with the enthusiasm of someone who had been waiting for a serious buyer all day. I had done my research months ago during those lunch breaks, so I knew exactly what I wanted and what it would cost. "It is a beautiful machine," he said, patting the hood. "Do you want to take it for a spin?" "Actually, I want to buy it tonight." His eyebrows shot up. "Tonight? Well, that is what I like to hear. Do you have financing in place?" "I have a cash down payment. I can have the rest financed through my credit union by tomorrow morning." 1.5 hours later, I was signing the papers. The down payment accounted for exactly 75% of the cruise money. The remaining balance would be covered by financing. However, with my credit score, the monthly payment was manageable, even on my income alone. I drove home in the Camaro slowly, savoring the purr of the engine and the feel of the steering wheel in my hands. It was not about the car itself. It was about making a statement as clear and direct as her Facebook post. When I pulled into our driveway, she was standing at the living room window. I could see her silhouette against the lamplight, and I knew she was looking out for my usual sedan. Instead, she saw something completely different. I parked the Camaro where my old car usually sat, and took my time getting out. The engine noise had probably announced my arrival to half the neighborhood. Perfect. She met me at the front door before I could even grab my keys. "Whose car is that?" she asked. "Mine." "What do you mean, yours? What happened to your car?" "Traded it in. Part of the down payment." She stared at me, then looked past me at the Camaro, then back at me. "A down payment? Why?" "We did not discuss buying a new car. We are saving for the cruise." I walked past her into the house, loosening my tie. "Actually, we are no longer saving for the cruise. I canceled it this afternoon." "You did what?" "Canceled the cruise. I got most of our deposit back. That covered the rest of the down payment." She followed me into the kitchen, her voice rising. "You cannot just cancel our anniversary cruise. I have been planning this for months. I already told everyone we were going." I opened the refrigerator and took out a beer. Not a light beer, not some trendy craft beer she had bought at Whole Foods, but a regular Budweiser. I cracked it open and took a long sip before answering. "You told everyone a lot of things today, including the fact that husbands think they are irreplaceable." "Well, you are absolutely right. Some husbands do think that. It turns out that some anniversary cruises also think they are irreplaceable." Her mouth opened and closed twice before she found her voice. "That post was not specifically about you. It was just a general observation. Posted while I was at work, right after our conversation last night, with your sister and coworkers cheering you on in the comments." I took another sip of beer. "Yeah, definitely not about me." She crossed her arms, changing tactics. "So your solution is to make a major purchase without discussing it with me. That is mature." "Mature." I repeated the word slowly, as if tasting it. "You know what is mature? Handling disagreements in private instead of posting passive-aggressive messages on social media for everyone we know to see and comment on." I finished my beer and set the empty bottle on the counter. "The car is registered in my name, financed through my credit union, using money from our joint account to which we both have legal access. Everything is completely honest and transparent. Unlike certain recent activities." She stood there silently for a moment, and I could see her mind working, trying to figure out her next move. This was not how she had planned it. Her little Facebook drama was supposed to make me apologetic, defensive, eager to prove my worth. Instead, she was staring at a husband who had just spent $7,360 on a sports car without batting an eye. "We need to talk about this properly," she finally said. "We are talking about it. Unless you mean we should discuss it on Facebook where everyone can give their opinion and drop emojis." I headed toward the hallway, then stopped. "By the way, I am thinking about posting some pictures of the new car tomorrow. You know how social media works. People love commenting on posts." The next morning, I woke up before my alarm and found her side of the bed empty. She was already in the kitchen, sipping a cup of coffee and scrolling on her phone with the intensity of someone monitoring a crisis. "Sleep well?" I asked, pouring myself some coffee from the pot she had made. She looked up with dark circles under her eyes. "People are asking questions about your comment yesterday." "What kind of questions?" "They want to know what you meant by 'you are absolutely right.' Some think you were being sarcastic." I added cream to my coffee and stirred it slowly. "Were they wrong?" She set her phone down harder than necessary. "This is not a game. My family is asking if we are having problems." "Are we having problems?" I asked, genuinely curious to hear her answer. "We weren't until you decided to buy a sports car and cancel our vacation without discussing it with me." I finished my coffee and rinsed the mug in the sink. "Funny. I thought our problems started when you decided to announce publicly that I am replaceable without discussing it with me." Before she could reply, I grabbed my keys and headed to the garage. The Camaro started up with a satisfying rumble that echoed off the walls. As I backed out, I could see her watching from the kitchen window. The drive to work was completely different. The car handled as if it had been designed for someone who knew exactly where they were going and how fast they wanted to get there. At red lights, I caught other drivers taking a look, and a few gave me an approving nod. During my lunch break, instead of eating at my desk as usual, I drove to a detailing shop downtown. The owner, a man in his 50s with grease-stained hands and piercing eyes, examined the Camaro as if assessing a work of art. "She is gorgeous. You want the full treatment. Everything you have got. Paint protection, interior conditioning, all of it. That will run you about $370. Do it." While waiting, I walked to a menswear store I had passed 100 times without ever going inside. The kind of place that sells tailored shirts instead of the generic department store button-downs I usually wore. The salesman, a sharp-dressed guy around my age, sized me up immediately. Looking for something specific? Work clothes that do not look like work clothes. 20 minutes later, I had 3 new shirts, 2 pairs of pants, and a leather jacket that cost more than what I normally spent on clothes in 6 months. But when I looked at myself in the fitting room mirror, I saw someone who owned a Camaro SS, not someone who apologized for wanting one. When I picked up the car, it looked like it had just rolled off the showroom floor. The black paint was so deep you could see your reflection in it perfectly. The interior smelled of expensive leather conditioner. I drove back to work slowly, taking a route that passed several restaurants and shops where people I knew might spot me. At a red light, I took out my phone and snapped a quick selfie. Nothing dramatic, just me behind the wheel wearing one of the new shirts, sunglasses resting on my nose, looking like I was exactly where I needed to be. I posted it on Instagram with a simple caption. New perspective. Within minutes, the likes started pouring in. Co-workers, old college friends, even people I had not spoken to in years. But the comments that caught my attention came from her friends. Looking good. Is this your midlife crisis car? From her college roommate. Very nice ride. Does she know you bought it? From her sister. And then the one that made me smile. Are you single? Asking for a friend. From one of her gym buddies. I did not reply to any of them. I just left the post there, racking up reactions. That evening, I stopped at Target for some basic necessities and ran into our neighbor from 3 houses down. She had always been friendly but professional, the type to wave from the driveway and chat about the weather. Is that your car out in the parking lot? She asked, pushing her cart next to mine. The Camaro? Yes, I picked it up yesterday. It is gorgeous. I saw you leave this morning and thought someone was visiting. She paused, seemingly thinking about her next words. Going through some major life changes? The question was innocent enough, but her tone suggested she had seen the Facebook drama or heard about it through the neighborhood grapevine. Just decided it was time to invest in myself. She nodded approvingly. Good for you. Life is too short to drive boring cars. When I got home, pulling the Camaro into the driveway caused the same stir as the day before. This time, our next-door neighbor was watering his lawn and gave me an enthusiastic thumbs up. Beautiful ride. What has she got under the hood? I spent 10 minutes talking about horsepower and torque, topics I had thoroughly researched during those wishful lunch breaks. By the time we finished, I noticed curtains twitching in several windows down the street. Inside the house, she was sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open and several printouts scattered around her. What is all this? I asked. Information about the cruise. I am trying to see if we can rebook for later in the year, maybe get a partial refund and apply it to another package. I sat across from her and looked at the papers. Tropical destinations, romantic dinners, couples activities. All the things we had planned together back when we planned things together. Why would we rebook? Because it is our anniversary cruise. We have been talking about it for months. You have been talking about it for months. I have been paying for it for months. She looked up from the laptop. That is not fair. We both wanted this trip. Really? Or did you want the trip, and I wanted to make you happy? The distinction sounded louder than I had anticipated. She closed the laptop and leaned back in her chair. I do not understand what is happening here. We were a normal married couple with a few minor issues to work out. Today, you are acting like I am an enemy. I pulled out my phone and showed her the Instagram post. 37 likes and counting, including several of your friends asking if I am available. Her face turned red as she read the comments. They are just being stupid. You know how people are on social media. Yeah, I am learning a lot about how people are on social media. She scrolled through the comments, her expression darkening with each one she read. This is exactly what I am talking about. You are posting pictures designed to get attention from other women. I posted a picture of myself in my new car. If other women find that attractive, it is not really my fault, is it? You know exactly what you are doing. I leaned forward. You are absolutely right. I know exactly what I am doing. Just like you knew exactly what you were doing when you posted that husbands are replaceable. She set the phone down and rubbed her temples. Can we please have a normal conversation about this? Without all the social media drama and passive-aggressive car purchases. This is normal. This is me treating our marriage exactly how you demonstrated it should be treated. Public, performative, and designed to get reactions from other people. I stood up and headed for the stairs. I am going to take a shower. Try not to post anything about our conversation while I am upstairs. By Friday, the Instagram post had blown up beyond anything I had anticipated. 68 likes, 23 comments, and my phone was vibrating with direct messages from people I had not seen in years. The most interesting development was watching the evolution of her friend's behavior in real time. What had started as innocent questions had turned into something more direct. Her gym buddy had followed up her original comment with a private message. Seriously, is everything okay at home? You have been looking really good lately. I screenshotted the message and saved it along with several others that had crossed similar lines. Not because I planned to use them as weapons, but because they perfectly illustrated the point I was making. At work, the attention was becoming impossible to ignore. The Camaro had its own fan club in the parking lot. People walked by during breaks just to look at it, and I had fielded a dozen conversations about performance specs, financing options, and where I had bought it. My project manager, a blunt woman in her 40s, cornered me by the coffee machine on Friday morning. Nice car. Going through a divorce. Why does everyone assume the car means divorce? Because married men do not usually spend $7,360 on sports cars without warning their wives first, unless they are not planning on being married much longer. I stirred my coffee thoughtfully. What if the wife publicly announced that husbands are replaceable? Oh, she nodded as if puzzle pieces were coming together. So it is strategic, not impulsive. Everything I do is strategic. Good. Impulsive would be stupid. Strategic might work. That afternoon, I decided to test just how strategic I could be. Instead of eating lunch at my desk, I drove to the upscale shopping center where she and her friends usually met for their Friday afternoon coffee. I parked the Camaro right in front of the Starbucks window, where I could see her sitting with 3 other women. I did not go in. I just sat in the car, checking my emails on my phone, giving them a clear view of the situation. Through the glass, I could pinpoint the exact moment they noticed me. One of them pointed, and all 4 heads turned. Then came the animated discussion, with gestures toward the car and what looked like a very intense conversation. My phone buzzed with a text from her. What are you doing here? I replied, getting coffee. Is that allowed? You do not even drink Starbucks. I am expanding my horizons. Trying new things. You know how it goes. I waited another 5 minutes, long enough for her friends to get a full view of the car and my apparent comfort with the situation. Then I crossed the street to Dunkin' Donuts. Through their window, I could see the Starbucks table still engaged in what looked like crisis management talks. When I got home that evening, she was waiting for me with the intensity of someone who had spent all afternoon preparing for battle. My friends think we are getting a divorce. What gave them that impression? The car, the Instagram posts, the fact that you showed up at our coffee shop like you were making a statement. I loosened my tie and sat across from her. What kind of statement would that be? That you do not care what I think. That you are already moving on. That you want other women to see you as available. Interesting theory. What do you think? She leaned forward, her voice rising. I think you were trying to punish me for a stupid Facebook post that meant nothing. A post that currently has 43 comments from people we both know. Most of them agreeing that husbands are indeed replaceable and sharing their own stories about disappointing marriages. Her face paled. You read all the comments? Every single one of them. Fascinating stuff. Your college roommate shared 3 paragraphs about her ex-husband's failures. Your cousin added a story about how her boyfriend thinks he is God's gift to women. Your coworker from the dental office contributed an entire essay on men who do not appreciate what they have. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to her original post. 43 comments, 87 reactions, and 12 shares. That is a lot of engagement for someone claiming it meant nothing. She slumped back in her chair, deflated. I did not know it would blow up like that. But you knew it would get reactions. That was the point, was it not? Getting public validation that I am the problem in this marriage. That is not what I wanted. Then what did you want? She remained silent for a long moment, staring at her hands. I wanted you to care more. About us. About how I was feeling. So, you decided to humiliate me publicly to get my attention. I did not think you would see it as a humiliation. I thought you would see it as a wake-up call. I set my phone on the table and leaned back. Well, it definitely woke me up. Just not in the direction you were hoping for. This whole car thing is getting out of hand. People are talking. People were already talking. Now they are just talking about different things. My phone buzzed with another Instagram notification. Look at this, I said, showing her the latest comment. Someone named Megan says I have excellent taste in cars and life choices. She is friends with your sister, apparently. She grabbed the phone to read the full comment thread. These women do not even know you. They know enough. Successful guy, nice car, takes care of himself. That is more information than your Facebook post provided about me. This is insane. You are encouraging complete strangers to flirt with you online. I am not encouraging anything. I posted a picture of myself in my car. If women find that attractive, it says something about the car, the photo, or maybe both. She scrolled through more comments, her expression growing more frustrated with each one. Half these women are asking if you are single. And what did you tell your friends when they asked the same question at the coffee shop today? I told them we are working through some issues. Issues, I repeated slowly. That is an interesting way to describe your public announcement that I am replaceable. She set the phone down and looked directly at me for the first time in the conversation. What do you want from me? An apology? Fine. I am sorry I posted it. I am sorry it hurt your feelings. Can we move on now? My feelings are not hurt. My expectations have just been recalibrated. What does that mean? It means I finally understand how you view this marriage, and I am adjusting my behavior accordingly. She stared at me for a moment, then stood up abruptly. I am going to bed. This conversation is going nowhere. That is fine. I have some more Instagram posts to prepare anyway. She stopped in the doorway. What kind of posts? The Camaro looks incredible under different lighting. I am thinking of doing a whole series, maybe some action shots this weekend. Action shots. Yeah, actually driving it. Maybe some scenic routes. The mountains have great backgrounds this time of year. Her knuckles were white where she gripped the doorframe. Are you planning to go alone? I have not decided yet. Why? Because people will think you are available if you keep posting pictures of yourself doing interesting things without me in them. I smiled for the first time all week. You are absolutely right. People might think exactly that. Saturday morning arrived with the kind of tension that makes even coffee taste different. She was already dressed and sitting at the kitchen table when I came downstairs, her laptop open and bank statements spread out across the surface. We need to talk about money, she announced without looking up. Good morning to you, too. I went through our accounts. The cruise cancellation, the car purchase, the $740 you spent on clothes and car detailing. She pointed at the papers like evidence in a trial. You spent over $8,280 in 3 days without consulting me. I poured myself some coffee and sat across from her. Money I earned from my job, for purchases registered in my name. That is not the point. What is the point? The point is that married couples discuss major purchases. They do not unilaterally decide to blow their vacation savings on a midlife crisis car. I took a sip of coffee and studied her face. The dark circles under her eyes had deepened, and there was a tightness around her mouth that suggested she had rehearsed this conversation. Midlife crisis, I repeated. That is interesting terminology. Is that your diagnosis? Or did you crowdsource that opinion from your Facebook friends? Do not deflect. We are talking about financial responsibility, are we? Because I thought we were talking about how upset you are that I made decisions without asking your permission first. She leaned forward, her voice taking on the patient tone she used when she thought I was being deliberately obtuse. I am upset that you are acting like a teenager. Throwing money away, posting pictures to get attention from other women, ignoring the consequences of your actions. Consequences. I set my mug down carefully. Let us talk about consequences. I pulled out my phone and navigated to her original Facebook post. This post has been shared 14 times now. 14 different people thought your observation about replaceable husbands was worth broadcasting on their own network. So what? So what? Your sister shared it with a comment about how some men need to hear this. Your coworker shared it with 3 laughing emojis. Your college roommate shared it with her own paragraph about men taking their wives for granted. She crossed her arms. People agreed with me. That does not make it untrue. You are right. It does not make it untrue. It makes it public. It makes it permanent. It makes it a statement about our marriage that has now been seen by literally hundreds of people. I scrolled through the share notifications, reading the names out loud. Friends of friends, distant relatives, people I work with who follow your sister. They all now have access to your opinion that husbands like me think they are irreplaceable. You are being dramatic. Am I? Because I ran into my project manager's wife at the grocery store yesterday. She asked me how I was holding up. When I asked what she mentioned seeing something online about marriage troubles. The color drained from her face. She saw the post? She saw one of the shares from someone in her book club who is friends with your cousin. Oh my God, indeed. Because now, I am getting pitying looks from coworkers who think my wife is publicly complaining about me. I am getting messages from women who think I am available. And I am having conversations about my marriage with people who should not even know we are having problems. She buried her face in her hands. I did not think it would spread like this. But you thought about how to word it for maximum impact. You thought about the timing while I was at work. You thought about which friends would respond with support. What you did not think about is how it would affect me, or our marriage, or our reputation. I was frustrated. People post things when they are frustrated. People post things when they want attention. You got attention. Congratulations. I stood up and walked to the window, looking at the Camaro in the driveway. You want to talk about consequences? Here are the consequences. I bought a car that makes me happy instead of planning a vacation that makes you happy. I am getting attention from women instead of apologizing for disappointing you. I am making decisions based on what I want instead of what will keep you from posting complaints about me online. That is not what I want. Is it not? Because your actions say otherwise. She looked at me with tears in her eyes, and I recognized the expression. It was the moment in past arguments where I would have softened, where I would have sat back down and worked toward a compromise that made her feel better. Instead, I finished my coffee. I do not want to be married to someone who resolves problems by complaining about me on Facebook, I said calmly. It was just one post. It was a public statement about how you view me and our marriage. A post that told everyone we know that I am replaceable, that I think too highly of myself, that I am not meeting your expectations as a husband. I rinsed my mug in the sink and turned back to her. So I decided to find out if you were right. Maybe I am replaceable. Maybe another woman would appreciate having a hard-working husband who pays the bills and buys sports cars instead of apologizing for wanting one. You are talking about divorce. I am talking about reality. You opened this door when you decided to air our problems publicly. You cannot control what walks through it. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I will delete the post. It has been shared 14 times. Deleting it now will not unshare it. The damage is done. Then what do you want me to do? I grabbed my keys off the counter. I want you to understand that actions have consequences. Real consequences. Not Facebook or Instagram consequences, but real consequences that affect real people in real marriages. Where are you going? For a drive. To think about whether I want to stay married to someone who thinks I am replaceable. Do not leave. We can work on this. I stopped at the door leading to the garage. Can we? Because working on problems usually involves discussing them in private, not broadcasting them for public entertainment and validation. I said I was sorry. You said you were sorry it hurt my feelings. That is not the same thing as being sorry for doing it. I opened the garage door and started the Camaro. As I backed out, I could see her standing at the kitchen window again. But this time, her expression was different. This time, she looked scared. I drove for 3 hours that Saturday, taking mountain roads I had never explored before. The Camaro handled every curve perfectly, and for the first time all week, my mind felt clear. When I stopped for lunch at a roadside diner, I took another picture. Me at a scenic overlook, the gleaming car in the background, the mountains stretching out to the horizon. I posted it with the caption, "Sometimes you need new perspectives to see clearly." Within an hour, it had more engagement than any photo I had ever posted. The comments ranged from admiration of the scenery to questions about the car, to more direct inquiries about my availability. One comment in particular caught my eye. Whoever she is lucky to have someone who knows how to live life. I did not correct the assumption. When I got back that evening, her mother's car was in the driveway. Through the living room window, I could see them both sitting on the couch, deep in conversation. I parked the Camaro and took my time walking to the front door. They both looked up when I walked in, their faces showing the exact expression of women who had been discussing the situation for hours. "Hello, darling," her mother said with the kind of forced cheerfulness that meant she was about to deliver an intervention. "Good evening. How is everyone?" "We are worried," her mother continued, "about this phase you are going through. The car, the social media posts, the sudden changes. This is not like you. I sat in the armchair across from them. Not the me you are used to, perhaps. Honey, my wife chimed in. I explained to Mom that we are just having some communication issues. Nothing that cannot be fixed with a little couples counseling. Therapy, I repeated. That is your solution. It is a starting point. A way to get back to normal. Her mother nodded enthusiastically. Couples therapy saved my sister's marriage. Sometimes couples just need help remembering what they love about each other. I looked at them both. These women who had clearly spent hours developing this strategy. What makes you think I want to get back to normal? The question hung in the air for a moment. Her mother's forced smile faltered. Because that is what married people do, she said. They work on their problems. Even when one publicly announces that the other is replaceable. Her mother's face flushed. That post was taken out of context. By whom? The 43 people who commented, the 14 who shared it, the hundreds who have seen it by now. Social media is not real life, her mother said weakly. Tell that to my coworkers who are asking if I am okay. Tell that to the women sending me messages because they think I am available. Tell that to everyone in our social circle who now knows we are having marriage problems because your daughter decided to share them online. I stood up and walked to the fireplace, looking at our wedding photos from 7 years ago. Smiling and full of hope, surrounded by family and friends who believed we had figured out how to make it work. You know what is interesting? I said, turning back to her. Not once in this conversation has anyone acknowledged that posting that message was wrong. It has been explained, justified, minimized, and blamed on frustration, but nobody has said it was wrong to do it. It was wrong, my wife said softly. I know it was wrong. Really? Because an hour ago, you told your mother it was taken out of context. Last night, you said it meant nothing. On Wednesday, you said I was being too sensitive. Her mother squirmed uncomfortably. Everyone makes mistakes. Some mistakes are private, some are public. Some mistakes reveal how someone truly feels about their marriage. My phone vibrated with another Instagram notification. I glanced at it and saw that the mountain photo had surpassed 50 likes. People are certainly responding to your posts, her mother observed, having clearly seen my phone screen. They are. Especially women, she added pointedly. Does that worry you? I looked directly at her. Should it? Your daughter posted that husbands think they are irreplaceable. These women seemed to disagree with that assessment. The room fell silent except for the ticking of the wall clock. Finally, my wife spoke. What do you want from me? I apologized. I suggested therapy. I admitted I was wrong. What else can I do? I do not know, I said honestly. But I know what you cannot do. You cannot unpost that message. You cannot take back the public humiliation. You cannot undo the damage to our reputation or our marriage. I headed for the stairs. Maybe some things truly are irreplaceable after all. Sunday morning, I woke up to find her mother gone and the house unusually quiet. She was in the kitchen again, but this time without her laptop, without bank statements, without any props for another confrontation. Just sitting with a cup of coffee, staring out the window. We need to make a decision, I said, pouring myself some coffee. I know. Really? Because for the past week, you have treated this like a temporary glitch that we can manage or fix or resolve through therapy. She turned to look directly at me. What kind of decision? The kind that determines whether we are married to each other or just living in the same house. I want to stay married. To whom? To the husband who apologizes for wanting things? To the guy who asks permission before making purchases with his own money? To someone who pretends your Facebook drama never happened? To you. The real you. I sat across from her. This is the real me. The guy who bought a sports car, who posts attention-grabbing pictures, who will not tolerate being publicly disrespected. If you wanted to stay married to someone else, you should have married someone else. You have changed. I stopped pretending that making you happy is more important than respecting myself. She sat silently for a long moment, taking that in. The Instagram posts, the car, showing up at my coffee shop. You are trying to make me jealous. I am trying to make you understand consequences. You posted that husbands are replaceable. I am showing you what replacing me would actually look like. Other women flirting with you online. Other women appreciating what you take for granted. That is not fair. Fair. I pulled out my phone and showed her the mountain photo from yesterday. 67 likes. 28 comments. Most of them from women who think I am attractive, successful, and worthy of their attention. Women who see value in a man who drives a nice car and knows how to enjoy life. I scrolled through the comments. Here is one from Megan. Living your best life. Here is another from someone named Ashley. Nice ride, beautiful view. And here is my favorite. From your gym buddy. Some women do not know how lucky they are. Her face paled. She said that. She said that along with asking if you and I were having problems because apparently, I look happier in the photos than I have in months. I never wanted this to happen. But it did happen. And now you see what your husband looks like when he is not worried about disappointing you. I finished my coffee and pushed the mug aside. Here is what is going to happen. I am keeping the car. I am keeping the new clothes. I am keeping the confidence that comes from knowing I do not need anyone's permission to live my life. And us. That depends on whether you can live with being married to someone who will no longer be taken for granted. What does that mean practically? It means no more public complaints about our marriage. It means no more passive-aggressive social media posts designed to embarrass me. It means if you have a problem with me, you discuss it with me, not with the internet. Understood? It also means I make decisions about my time, my money, and my interests without asking for approval. You have a voice, not a veto. That is not how marriage works. That is how this marriage is going to work. Or not work, if you prefer. She stared at me for a long time, and I could see her weighing her options. Stay married to a man who would not be controlled, or start over with someone who might be more malleable. And if I cannot accept these terms, then you were right. Some husbands are replaceable, and some wives are too. You would really divorce me over a Facebook post? I would divorce you over what that Facebook post revealed about how you view me and our marriage. The post was just the symptom. She leaned back in her chair, the weight of the decision resting on her shoulders. I do not want a divorce. So you do not want a divorce, but you are not getting the old version of me back either. That guy was too worried about keeping you happy to notice that you were not worried about keeping him happy. I stood up and grabbed my keys. I am going for another drive. When I come back, you can tell me if you want to be married to who I really am, or if you would rather keep looking for someone replaceable. As I backed the Camaro out of the driveway, I saw her watching from the window once again. But this time, I was not the one wondering what would happen next. Comment. I truly believe that protecting your self-respect changes everything in a relationship. When you set clear boundaries, you show both yourself and your partner that your feelings matter. I've learned that handling disagreements in private helps everyone avoid unnecessary pain. Taking responsibility for how you respond to hurt opens the door to real healing and growth. Choosing peace over drama has brought more calm into my days than I ever expected. You deserve to invest in your own happiness and surround yourself with genuine kindness. Reflecting on what truly matters in your connections can guide you toward healthier bonds. Healing takes time, but it starts when you decide to prioritize your inner peace. I hope you feel inspired to live with more respect for yourself and those around you. Let's all keep choosing the kind of life that feels right and full of understanding. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.
Thank you for taking the time to watch and support our